I understand what you're saying, but I will tell you this: a lot of times, people, when they try to use words to describe dog training at like a seminar or something, they look at a they catch something catches them and they're like, oh, okay, well the e-collar should always be fully charged before you use it, or always have a high value treat available and ready. So when you have those things, those seem like, oh, okay, that's really a good thing. I could quote that. That's good. Always have a high value treat, right? But the old time mentors used to teach stuff by saying it first, and it sounded so cool. You know, there's a lot of really cool sounding sayings where you see this old dog person who's like really, you know, been through the trenches, right? Like show and police canine and working dog events and stuff like that. But they were dog people, like they really understood dog. My Czech mentor comes to mind, and he would say really cool distilled like essence of greatness.
You should never give a command you cannot reinforce.
So I was like, whoa, that sounds like a quote. That sounds like something I should pay attention to. So I go, yeah. Well, when did he say it? He said it when I wasn't reinforcing a command that I should have been. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Well, if you're thinking about it like a seminar, a notebook goes in the notebook, shuts the notebook. Yeah, you wrote it down, but you didn't experience anything. So they would keep saying them every time you did it, and you'd be like, why does he keep saying that? And then you'd see it. That's how you learn. That's experience. That's the way to get experience, right? I mean, you can get it in other ways too, but that's kind of the way it used to be. So now you have so many things that cost you. Your dog is taking a piece of pizza off the couch, and you go down, and the dog doesn't down. It just fucking backs off, right? So you gave a command you cannot reinforce. You know what it's like? It's never give a command you're unwilling to reinforce, right? That's a good one. So the dog skulks away, and he was like, all right, but he got a taste of that pizza. Now, some dogs will never do it again. Some dogs will just be like, okay, that's level of correction, right? But it's also genetics too, right? So now this other dog, this puppy who doesn't take a correction so well, comes up, not so emotional, comes up, and you go, get out of there, and he goes, grab, and he runs. Snatch that pizza and run. Goes under the bed. God damn it. Honey! God damn it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get up. Well, not only did the dog get a source reward and turned into a scavenger, grab it. You teach the dog to be counter surfing and table surfing. But you also taught the dog you're not going to get up off your fat ass and you're not going to do anything about it. But the reason that quote is so good is because you gave the dog too much freedom before you trained it. It's not going to learn what you want it to learn on the fly. It's going to learn everything you don't want it to learn on the fly. So now what do? Well, now people go, that's why I have an e-collar, Chris. I listen. God bless. What I'm saying is that if you do correct for the skulking, the very cautious, trying to steal pizza, and what level do you hit that at? If you just grab the e-collar and you press, it was on the number for the last correction. If you grab the e-collar and you tune it in, you're telling the dog you're doing something. You're going to make that dog collar-wise. You can't reinforce. Not the equipment can't reinforce. You. Because that leads to the dog having clarity, trust, and respect from you. That's the natural cycle of the dog being raised among dogs. But we break that because we want convenience. So the dog figures out, if you do get up, I'm running. So that's the opposite of a recall. That's too much personal pressure, and that's a scared dog, and that leads to all kinds of fucking problems you don't want. And then if you call the dog, come here, come over here, come over here, come here, the dog learns it doesn't have to come. I'm not doing it. What do you got? And you go, I'll get a cookie. You just told the dog not to steal pizza, lost your shit, and now you're giving it a cookie? That's a really bad behavior chain. You don't want to teach that. So the answer to that we've known for a very long time is never give a command you cannot reinforce, or you're unwilling to reinforce. Because it gives the dog, from the dog's eye point of view, it gives the dog a lot of options you're going to punish it for later. The dog's not trained, but you're going to train on the fly. That's going to cause some problems. That's going to cause some real thick problems. But if you had followed, never give a command you can't reinforce, and then what else comes with that is that if you think about it, you have to go, well, what does that mean? It means I have to set up, I have to choreograph what I can reinforce. Not just go, no, no, what's that? That's nothing. But you choreograph it so the dog understands the lesson of don't take anything off that table. Not, you can run around the house, and then when you do something, hey, whatever you're doing. That's why never give a command you cannot personally reinforce. Now that's also while you're teaching. When the dog is trained and you maintain your training, sure, you can do that all the time. But without the mentorship telling you what that means, it's just a saying. It's just a little phrase in a book. Yep, that's great. And it's lost to time. Nobody cares to think about what that meant and why it meant that. So what does it really mean? Because every time he said that to me, I was yelling at will you stop it?
Never give a command you cannot reinforce.
And I'm like, yeah, I fucking heard you. I'm not understanding what he's trying to say. Because you have to have the experience of letting your dog blow you off because you're stupid. And then you have to suffer the consequences of your poor, shitty corrections and timing. Because now the dog's probably going to catch a bad one because you're frustrated if you were like I was. Or you're ambivalent. You're like, I don't give a fuck, right? Your dog's going to learn something about that. But really, what that means, it's a very polite way of saying, never teach your dog that you're full of shit. Don't be full of shit. Because if you're full of shit, nobody takes you seriously. If you're full of shit, you're not going to get any respect. You're not going to get that. And that's the thing. If you're taking your dog home to just love it and be with it, you're taking it away from its brothers and sisters and its mom and other dogs eventually that would be very clear with it, because dogs can't lie. So when a dog is full of shit in a pack, in a feral pack, a wolf pack, whatever it is, when they're full of shit, they're not leading. The leader's not full of shit. It has to do very little. Just not full of shit. You know why? Because he never gives a command he's not willing to reinforce. It's called canine credibility. And if you guys want to learn more about these things, these really cool little pearls of wisdom that are gone today, just leave a comment below. Tell me if there's a behavior you're looking for that has a little catchphrase to it. Well, there's a bunch of lessons to that, and you can check it out on Patreon. That's what we're doing. That's what we're going to be doing. If you want to learn, come and join us. If not, God bless.